Hey, I'm Alex.
I'm Laurie.
And we're going to take you through our new record, Somewhere Else.
Cold Hands was the last track that we wrote for this record, even though it's the first track on there. But we wanted the record to start with something just fast-paced, very immediate. So once you get the organ swell at the beginning, and then once you get past that and everything else just kicks in, it's just go from that point.
Like thematically, the song it deals with kind of how sadness can be a bit of a habit-forming behaviour, and in that way it can be quite addictive, and so it becomes your first reaction to situations rather than your reaction to situations that justifiably make you feel that way, and in that sense it's sort of just looking at the cyclical nature of it, and on the other side of things, kind of with the chorus and stuff like that, it's almost looking at the other side of it, the ways that certainly I try and break that cycle. The Lovers was the first single off the EP, and certainly a song that was an immediate hit with us. We decided pretty early on in the process that it was going to be the first thing that people heard from the EP, and I'm pretty sure, like, right from the time that we first listened to it together, we were pretty sure that it was going to be certainly the lead track from our new record.
Once Jack and Owen and I had heard it, and we'd all kind of spoken about it for a while, we were all pretty keen on it right from the get-go. And once we started playing around with some bits and pieces, working on the arrangement a bit more, it just cemented the fact that we knew it was going to be on the record.
I'd recently read Tamerlane and Annabelle Lee by Edgar Allan Poe, whose work I'm a huge fan of, and the feeling in both of those really sort of informed the feeling behind the song as well, and really helped get the words out.
We actually demoed Lost and Forgotten at the end of 2015 up in Mansfield with a friend of ours called Hamish, and it was during that kind of demo session, I think, that we all kind of agreed that that song was definitely going to be on the next record.
The chorus from this one, I had no joke for about 10 years before we put it in this one, and I'd had it in a bunch of different arrangements, a bunch of different songs, even different kind of styles and genres of songs, and I just never ever found a home for it, and it was getting to the point where I decided it wasn't any good, and I almost wasn't going to use it, but I found myself playing it one day, and I ended up coming up with an idea for a verse, and before I knew it, there it was, and I love the way that there's almost 3 main vocals in the chorus. So you've got the kind of harmonized ones, which is, obviously I'm singing one, you're singing the other, but there's almost no lead and backup. It's almost 2 main vocals, and then you have the third sort of call and response one, which just fits in really well with them. Beauty and Darkness went through so many transformations in the writing process, and
even the demoing process.
And even the demoing. We've had a couple of different choruses in there, a completely different pre-chorus. In fact, the original pre-chorus that ended up being in the song, we decided was no good for ages and had something else, and then I ended up just playing it for you guys at practice one day, and we suddenly realised that it needed to be back in the song, and that was really when the song took shape as it is now.
Yeah. And we spent quite a lot of time working on this one with Daly, who produced and engineered the whole record. We spent time at my house at the ranch where we recorded the whole EP, just working on the song with him, just working out whether we should kind of build it slowly from the beginning to end and kind of where it reaches the kind of eventual climax, or kind of have it peak and then drop again. So there were so many changes, not just in the parts themselves, but just in the whole dynamic. The Western Shore was written quite differently to everything else we've ever written, just because it started out with a chorus that I'd written literally just 4 chords and a pretty simple melody, and then Alex took the chorus and kind of tweaked it a little bit and sort of built upon it, and then we used a chord progression that we'd been playing around with at a band practice, and then that's eventually what became the verse, which is quite unusual for us because we don't tend to work on things together in that way. We don't get together to write. We tend to send demos back and forth over the internet, and then we'll work on things ourselves and then kind of bring ideas to practice rather than actually getting together to write.
I've been walking through the city and kind of observing other people and sort of just wondering about, you know, the different ways that people experience and go through life. And you know, in that moment, I felt kind of a little bit alienated and felt like I was a little bit in a big crowd of zombies. I'd probably been watching too much Walking Dead at the time or something, but it brought this very powerful imagery into my head, and so then I sort of met up with you, and you had this chorus that just fitted in perfectly with that, and it just sort of lit a fire under me, and all of a sudden there was a song.